Again? This is happening again? It's not like we needed further proof that the NBA is at war with its own fan base. I have been talking about this same narrative for years now. Hell, I can't even call it a narrative anymore. A narrative that could be misconstrued as being a story. The NBA being at war with its own fan base, that is a fact. If you're a fan of a small market team in the NBA, good luck watching your team on television. I know fans of the Los Angeles Lakers and the Rainbow Warriors can't relate to this problem since, half of their regular season games are broadcast on national TV. A sizable portion of NBA fans, they tell Adam Silver that they want to see new stars. What does Adam Silver do? He gives us almost 100 games featuring the same star players that we have been watching for over a decade now. I don't remember anyone clamoring to see more of Draymond Green. For most NBA fans, the only thing they want to see Draymond Green do is retire. There's only a handful of sports figures that I really can't stand. One of them, Denise Allen, the doofus pretending to be the head coach of my New Orleans Saints. But with Denise, at least he seems like a nice guy. If Denise was my neighbor and one of my dogs got out of the backyard without me knowing about it, he's the type of guy that would chase down my dog and bring her back home to me. If Draymond Green was my neighbor, I'd put my house up for sale. Something else NBA fans have been complaining about this season and for the past couple of years is the officiating. Officiating in this league is the worst in professional sports, and I think it's intentional. Now, this is just speculation on my part, but I think Adam Silver wants the officiating to be bad in the NBA because it gets people talking about the league. Couple of weeks ago, after yet another horrifically called game by NBA officials, the officiating in the league, it vastly improved for about a week. After the controversy subsided, everything went back to normal. Last night, we were given another example of how the NBA is at war with its own fan base. Last night, the defending champs, the Nuggets, they were in Los Angeles to play the Clippers, also known as the B team in Los Angeles. Without Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, and Aaron Gordon playing, 3/5 of the Nuggets starting lineup, somehow the Clippers found a way to lose this game at home. Naturally, the few dozen people in Los Angeles who actually care about the Clippers, they were upset. This team is an aging disaster. For some reason, they thought it would be a good idea to go out and get James Harden. Not only does that make the oldest roster in the NBA in a league that's driven by youth even older, it also guarantees that this team is going to be destroyed from within because James Harden has proven to be a cancer in the locker room. During the final seconds of the game, as fans were witnessing yet another embarrassing loss on their home floor, Russell Westbrook, he starts arguing with some dude in the front row. They argue for a few seconds. The official attempts to defuse the situation. Game ends. What does Russell Westbrook do? He walks back over to the dude and starts arguing with him again. Watch for yourself. Okay, first of all, if something were to actually happen here between Russell Westbrook and this dude, if there was a physical altercation, which highly unlikely, but if there was, what is that female official going to do about it? I'm not really a big fan of female officials for a variety of reasons. One of the main reasons I don't like it's because the only reason that we are seeing female officials in the NFL and NBA is equity, diversity. The officiating is already bad enough. It's not like we needed an influx of female officials calling touch fouls because they think players are being too rough. Look, I am well aware that fan behavior at professional sporting events it can be detestable. 99% of fans that attend NBA games, they're respectful to the players. They might boo the players, they might talk shit to the players, but there's always been a certain level of respect that is given. But there's always that 1% that have a tendency to take things too far. I don't know if this particular fan last night falls into that 1%, but in the case of Russell Westbrook, it really doesn't matter. For starters, you're supposed to be the professional here. The expectations for your behavior are a hell of a lot higher than the expectations that we have for fan behavior. And number two, This has become a pattern with Russell Westbrook. We see this exact same thing happen with Russell Westbrook multiple times every season. At first, I was willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. You listen to some dude talk shit, you listen to some fat slob say disrespectful things about your family for 2.5 hours. Eventually, anyone is going to respond. There's only so much a man can take. But this has happened so often with Russell Westbrook, we have moved past the point of the fans being the problem. We have now reached the point where I think Russell Westbrook is the problem. Last year, he was getting fans thrown out of the arena. Why? They're talking shit to me. They're being meanies. Remember towards the end of last season, Russell Westbrook had an altercation with some guy when he was walking back through the tunnel after halftime? If I remember correctly, Russell Westbrook was trying to fight the dude because he called him Westbrick. He has shown a pattern where he quickly loses his cool. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Russell Westbrook is frustrated with the end of his NBA career. He went from being a superstar player, he went from being called Mr. Triple Double, he went from being in the MVP conversation every year to being a glorified role player. Hell, he's not a glorified role player. Russell Westbrook, he is a role player. That has to be a very difficult reality to come to grips with. I mean, this seems to have happened fast for Russell Westbrook. Seemed like one year he's a superstar, the next season he's a bum. After the game, the media, they asked Russell Westbrook what the fans said to piss him off. Listen to his response.
Fans think they can say whatever they want. You know, I'm not going to say it now because it's not appropriate, but I'm just protecting myself. That's about it. You know what I'm saying? Too much else I can explain on that, but just unfortunately fans think they can get away with saying anything, and I won't allow it. I've took a lot of, people saying anything and, getting away with it, but I won't stand for it. It takes a while for whether it's security of the arenas or whatever that may be to go and tell fans to get out, but fans kind of have the right of way to kind of say whatever they want, but like I told you, any disrespect to me, my family, I won't allow it.
Really? Really? Let me get this straight. Let me make sure I am understanding this correctly. Last couple of years, Russell Westbrook has been complaining about fan behavior. He's been complaining that fans can say whatever the hell they want and get away with it. You're being given the opportunity here to explain what this dude said to you. You're being given the opportunity to explain what he said that caused you to lose your composure. Here was your chance to give us an example as to how bad fan behavior's become. And you don't want to go into detail because you're afraid that it's inappropriate? It didn't seem like you were worried about being appropriate when you were acting unprofessional on the court. So why are you worried about being appropriate explaining to the media what was said? And what is this shit about you protecting yourself? Protecting yourself from what? I didn't see that dude trying to run on the court. Matter of fact, after the situation was de-escalated, you were the one that walked back over to him and started arguing with him again. If you really felt threatened, if you thought this was a dangerous situation and felt the need to protect yourself, why would you go back and re-enter the situation? Doesn't make sense to me, but what the hell do I know? I'm not an aging NBA player that is struggling to accept the reality that I'm past my prime. As you heard in the clip, Russell Westbrook, he was complaining about security at the arena taking too long or taking a while to throw fans out of games. Last I checked, the objective was to convince fans to come to the games. That's how you make your money. If fans don't come to games, if they don't watch you on TV, you no longer have a job. If what this dude said to Russell Westbrook was so bad, I don't understand why he would be unwilling to share it. If I had to guess, Russell Westbrook is refusing to share it because it really wasn't all that bad. If I had to guess, the fan probably called him Westbrick and it caused him to have another emotional meltdown. This league This league, let's just look at some recent events in the NBA from a fan's perspective. Now, you got to remember, we are the paying customers here. So let's just review some recent events, and you tell me if you would be willing to pay for this. Last year, LeBron James has what appeared to be a married couple kicked out of an Indiana Pacers game. Why? I don't think the true reason was ever revealed. If I remember correctly, LeBron James said they were disrespectful. We have multiple instances with Russell Westbrook arguing with fans and having them kicked out of the arena. Like I said earlier, NBA officiating an absolute embarrassment. During the third quarter of the Pelicans game last night, there was a stretch of 6, 7, maybe even 8 minutes where there was a foul called on every single possession. Some possessions, there were multiple fouls called, and it wasn't like it was one-sided. It wasn't like they were favoring one team over the other. The officiating, it was bad both ways. Completely disrupted the flow of the game. The game was close from beginning to end, but it was painfully boring to watch on TV. The officiating ruined the experience for fans in the arena and for those of us who are watching on television. Consistent whistles, consistent fouls, it can suck the energy out of the arena. Last year, Draymond Green had a fan ejected in Milwaukee. Dre claimed that the dude made threats against him. Now, if that were any other player, I would be willing to believe it, but I do not believe anything that escapes the mouth of Draymond Green. The dude probably told him the truth. He probably told Draymond Green that he is the most overrated player in the history of the NBA. And if he had been drafted by the Charlotte Hornets, he would be unknown. Instead, he has spent his entire NBA career riding the cape of Steph Curry. Just last week, we had the Pepperidge Farm guy, Greg Popovich, lecture fans in San Antonio because they were booing Kawhi Leonard. Listen, plebes, booing is unacceptable. That's not how we behave. We also had Steve Kerr echo the sentiments of the Pepperidge Farm guy, right after he complained about the loud music being played inside the arena in Phoenix. This is constantly happening in the NBA. Whether it's players, coaches, or the NBA front office, there is this constant battle between the NBA and its own fan base. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, someone please, make this make sense. Why would the NBA constantly fight with their own fan base, their own customers? Also, what do you think was said that caused Russell Westbrook to have another emotional meltdown? Whatever was said, did it warrant that type of response? Do you think this is a case of fans behaving poorly, or have fans always behaved this way and this is a case of some NBA players just being too soft? You let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. I appreciate your support. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.